All right, let's get this over with. Welcome, everyone, to the 5 Takeaways, show about Carolina basketball. Carolina loses its first game of the season, falls to 5-1 overall, losing to Iowa State by a score of 70-65. 65 points, not a lot from the Heels. Iowa State's defense was good coming in and proved to be great. They beat us down the stretch with some incredible shots from Caleb Grill, who joins the list of the kid from College of Charleston, who I will be checking their stats at the end of the season, but that's neither here nor there. Full disclosure, I'm giving myself an additional 6th red box today because I didn't watch the game. It was the first game I didn't even peek in at. Completely was busy. I was watching more Carolina athletics, and I don't even know what color boxes I would use to describe the UNC NC State football game. I don't have the time really to get into that debacle. So I knew I wasn't going to watch that. I just watched the replay on ESPN Plus. Flex, I have it. That's on me. First loss is the first game I don't watch live. Whatever. I saw kind of like, we got killed by jumpers from this guy who had 31, and I just thought it was going to be one of those games that we were out of from start to finish. And that wasn't the case. Again, we talked about it in yesterday's video with the optics. I thought Carolina looked good for a large part of the game. They were up 7 points with 3 minutes and change to go. Of course, I invented the down the stretch statistic yesterday, and they were terrible at it today. But I just wanted to come on here and address it. I didn't want to not record on our first loss of the season because that's not the kind of guy I am, and it's not the kind of fan I am. So let's start. Box number 1 is going to be a red for rebounding. I'm not even looking at the statistics right now. I'm just saying overall, watching the game, rebounding was poor for a large part of it. The amount of second and third chance opportunities Iowa State got from shots that were tipped out to other players, we just can't do that. We have to rebound the ball on the defensive glass. Offensive rebounding, yeah, we got some chances. There was a spurt where Leaky got one and threw it to Armando, who kicked it out to Pete Nance for a 3 towards the end of the game. That was fine. That was good, but it just didn't look great today. So we did actually out-rebound them, and they actually missed some of their shots that they were getting those offensive rebounds on. But if those go in, this could have been a lot worse than it was. So a red box for rebounding to start things off today. I touched on this already. It's going to be another red box for down the stretch. I'm 1-1 this season on willing us to be good at this. Up 8 points with 6 minutes to go. Up 5 points with 3 minutes, 15 seconds to go. I just thought our shot selection was bad. I could have thrown a yellow box for Caleb here for this just because there were just too many shots where, and granted, Iowa State's defense was very good, but we just weren't in a good flow offensively, and then they just made shots. I mean, the 28-footer that the Grill kid hit, ridiculous. Just, you got to tip your cap to that. Some of his shots early were wide open in the first half when he started 3 for 3, but some of his shots in the second half were not wide open. They were guarded. They were defended. You could nitpick and say they should have been denying him more or getting in his face even more than they were, but honestly, they were really, really well defended, and he just made those shots. What are you going to do? He had 1 field goal for 5 points yesterday, or the previous game against Nova, and today he has 31. And this just happens in college basketball. It seems to happen to Carolina a lot. Whatever. Red box for down the stretch. We had the lead. We've been so good at icing it out over the course of this early season, and today we let it slip until it was too little too late. I'm going to give a green box, shake it up a little bit, get some positivity in here for experience. I'm not going to be one of those people that says, good, I'm glad we lost. Never. And I'm not going to be one of those people that say, we don't deserve the number 1 next to the name. We shouldn't be the number 1 team in the country. I say, if you keep winning, you get to keep that ranking. And it doesn't matter how you look. You're one. And I wanted to be number 1 for the rest of the year. I wanted to be undefeated for the rest of the year. I'm sure the players wanted that more than me and the coaching staff. But that's just, it's not going to happen, right? This was a good experience. Really, really fun game to watch. Even though it was a loss and even though it was kind of an ugly game, this is what Virginia is going to be like in Charlottesville. This felt like, not the scoring wise, but the intensity of the UCLA game last year in March Madness that we actually came out on top on. You need to play in these games. It was our first Power 5 opponent. You got to play these tougher teams. I've been saying all year, we're going to play better teams. We're going to play faster teams. We're going to play smarter teams. You need that experience. Yes, we brought back a lot of guys that should have this experience, but it's a new year. You can't just bank on what you did last year and say, oh, we experienced that last year. This year, there's new expectations, there's new players, there's new opponents. You got to be in these games. I said it in my season preview. I knew we were going to lose the semifinal game. You can go and check that. It just had the markings of the early season letdown against a team that I still think Carolina is better than, talent-wise, coaching-wise. I do think. I really do. Scoreboard, scoreboard, scoreboard. You can say that all you want. I think we were the better team. They got hot today. We shot ourselves in the foot. I think we lost this game more than they won this game. They scored 70 points, and they needed a Herculean effort from one, if not two guys to beat us. We played not good. Maybe we played 20, 18 good minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and then 5 bad minutes, and that was the difference. Good experience, I think. Again, I don't want to be, oh, you need to lose, you need to get the monkey off your back. I'm not going to be that fan, but I do think that we can learn and grow from a loss just as much, if not more, than we can learn and grow from a close win. So a green for the experience. Fourth box is going to be a yellow for Armando. 13 points, 9 rebounds. 5 turnovers. Some of them came late in that down the stretch period I was talking about, where they went on their run and they cut the deficit and ended up taking the lead for good. And I'm also giving him a yellow, and this is interesting. It's not really his fault, but he just needs to touch the ball more. He has to touch the ball more. He had 6 field goal attempts, and he made 5 of them. He has to get the ball more. Meanwhile, RJ and Caleb combined for 28 shots, 14 each, and they made 9 of them total. I understand if they're playing a 1-3-1 and there's going to be more three-point options available, but every single time down the floor, you have to throw it into Armando. Just try it. And if he kicks it out and we get a 3 and we miss it, fine. He needs more than 6 shot attempts. He's so good. You have to use your best player more. So a yellow because his teammates didn't really use him as much as we needed him to, and for some of those costly turnovers towards the end. But then again, every time he touched the ball, it seemed to go in, and it seemed to have an impact on the glass. So a yellow for Armando. Our fifth and final box, I touched on it a little bit, but we'll make it a red for the offensive flow, the shot selection, / a yellow for Caleb. Honestly, could be a red for Caleb as well. I don't know, we just never looked good offensively. I get that they had a good defense, but just things looked real stagnant at times, and especially down the stretch, the offensive shot selection and our game plan, just throwing up threes. Sometimes they were open and we just missed them, and that's a big reason why we lost, but some of them were a bit forced, and you would hope that having been in close games this year and last year, some of our more experienced players would have made better choices, but maybe that Iowa State defense was really getting to them. So I think that'll wrap it up. Wanted to come on here and talk after a loss just to show my face. Tough day to be a UNC sports fan for sure. This loss is much, much easier to deal with than the football loss. This is a long season. Said it at the season preview. I knew we were going to lose this game. A lot of people could see a loss coming. I'd rather lose to a good Iowa State team. That's a good Iowa State team. Yes, they need their players to be hot to score 70 points, but I could really see them maybe not in the Big 12, but in the NCAA tournament if they can sneak in, or even the Big 12 tournament towards the end of the year, making some noise. Because, again, that Caleb Grill kid and the other one, I'm sorry, I forget his name, all they need to do is get hot, and their defense is really good. If they stay healthy, I could see them beating a lot of teams. And they're undefeated right now, and they could very well win the Phil Knight Invitational. So that was a good team, a good test. We didn't perform well. I'm not going to harp too much on they have a kid that had his best shooting night ever. Yes, that may be so, but I think we beat ourselves more than they beat us. Learn from it. Play Alabama Sunday for the third place game. Get a win there. Go to Indiana for the Big Ten ACC Challenge and try and shake this one off. Not going to be number one, but I'll end with, I didn't think we looked bad. I still have yet to be like, wow, we looked bad. And trust me, there have been some games in years past where we have looked bad. This time, we made some poor shots. We made some turnovers. They made everything, and they pulled away and they won. But I'm not going to say it was that bad of a performance overall. I know there were a lot of red boxes here today. That's just easier to do after a loss. I think overall we're going to be more than okay. I mean, we shot 36% from the field in the second half, 1 for 8, 12.5% from 3 in the second half. It was a game of runs. We went on a run. We got out to an 8-point lead. Then Iowa State went on their run. They got out to the 3-4-point lead and were able to ice it with the free throws at the end. Who knows what would have happened in 5 more minutes, like if we had pushed it to overtime. I actually think these teams were really evenly matched. It was a good game to watch, an ugly game, but a good game to watch competition-wise. And they just came out on top. So, tough one, not the end of the world. Thank you guys so much for watching. 5 takeaways, first loss. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Mac Brown, it's not okay. Go Heels.